Hi, Easy Guide here. Today I have a quick guide on secondary stats in Lost Ark. So I've gotten a lot of questions and requests for me to explain what secondary stats are, and I've seen a lot of images and information out available that does not have the correct or accurate information on what these secondary stats do. So where do you get secondary stats? And the secondary stats are acquirable through items, and every single item will have secondary stats. Higher the item level of the item that you have, obviously the more stats you get. And there's a pattern where the right side here, all of your accessories have much higher secondary stats available at equal item level than your left side. So whenever you want to focus on increasing your secondary stats, then you might want to look to upgrade your accessories. Also, you can change your secondary stats with reforging. I've also done gear modification guide on that's available through an image on Imgear, so make sure you guys check that out. But whenever you reforge your secondary stats, it's completely random as to which of the six stats you get. So you get two out of six, and a random distribution of the weights among those two stats as well. So it might take you guys a while to get the stats that you really want. With that out of the way, let's look over all of the six stats. The first one is crit. First one is crit. This is very straightforward. It only increases your chance to crit. It does not increase your crit damage. So please keep that in mind. It only increases your chance to crit. The second stat is mastery / specialization, depending on what kind of translation you want to use. This stat differs for every single class, and it usually deals with the class identity. So for example, infighters, the class identity of infighter is the green gauge and the yellow gauge. So it'll make our green skills deal more damage and recover more yellow energy. So it facilitates our rotation a little bit more. And I know, for example, bards, it makes their gauge fill up faster and increases the effect of the gauge. Same thing with summoners. It has a similar effect of helping your gauge fill up faster. So please double check what it does for your class. Some classes aren't as useful. For example, battle masters. I've heard from battle masters that the skills that use up their identity aren't as effective or useful as some of the other skills, so they might not focus on this. So mastery / specialization differs for every class, so make sure you double check. And the common effect that it has on every single class is that it increases the damage of your ult. So if you really want to go for high damage ults, then you might want to focus on this as well, although I don't see why you would. The third stat is suppression stat, and I think this is the stat that's been getting the most confusion. It increases the damage dealt to disabled / weakened enemies, including bosses that have been staggered or disabled. So whenever you chip out the second bar under their health bar, or whenever a guardian boss is stunned / staggered, it will increase the damage you deal while they're in that state. It also increases damage dealt to CC'd enemies, or whatever status effect you apply to them. So this is relevant in something like island PvP perhaps. A big disclaimer is that it doesn't increase the damage that you deal. It doesn't increase the chip damage that you deal to the boss. So the second bar, right? It does not increase that damage. You will not get more chip damage done if you stack this stat. It only increases the damage that you deal to the boss while they have already been staggered. The fourth stat is Swiftness. Swiftness increases your movement speed, increases attack speed, and reduces cooldowns. That's a fairly straightforward stat, and it's pretty good outside of its poor scaling. Endurance, it increases your defensive capabilities such as magical and physical defense. It increases the effect of shields as well as your recovery, your health recovery. And the last stat is skill / proficiency. Once again, depending on translation, it increases duration of status effects you apply. And it also decreases the duration of status effects you suffer. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it only applies to CCs or if it also applies to things like bleeds, burns, shock, poison, etc. So I'll have to do more testing on this, but overall this isn't a stat you want to go for if you're focusing on damage in the first place. And the third effect is that it increases damage dealt to the disable gauge. So what people were initially confusing the suppression stat with is where you gain that effect here. So this 6 stat is what increases the chip damage to a boss's second disable gauge, the second gauge that represents their stun state. All right. Last thing I want to say is that under every single stat, you might see this this wording, something about potions, this right here, and this is also present in your main stat and your health stat. All this says is that whenever you do quests, sometimes you get stat potions. This is what it indicates. It means that I've gotten 0 stats from stat potions. Whereas, for example, my character currently has 20 additional stat from questing, and I've gotten the Swiftness stat using a potion, those purple potions that give me permanent stat bonuses. All right. So that's been a guide on the secondary stats. Please do not confuse your suppression stat with your proficiency stat, and double check if mastery is good for your class, because it might be more valuable than swiftness. All right. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you guys next time.